All right, guys, welcome back to class. So today we are going to start off with our objectives for this lesson. We are going to be completing our focusing question task 4. Just so to let you guys know, this assignment is going to be counted as your major grade. So it is 60% of your grade. But with that said, I also want to remind you all that you can't only take your test, because even if you take your test and you get 100, like seriously, like even if you take your test and you get 100, if you don't do any of your daily assignments, you're still going to fail. You need to do all of the work, all of the assignments. But just to let you guys know, today's lesson is a major grade. So please make sure that you're paying attention. Come to office hours if you need help, and we'll go from there. So the first thing that you guys are going to know at the end of this lesson is the to-seek strategy and how it is used in writing. You are also going to understand that textual evidence is necessary to develop a central idea in writing and how it is used most effectively. You are also going to be able to write an essay expressing how stories help us make sense of ourselves and the world by completing Assessment 28, Focusing Question Task 4. So let's go ahead and get started with today's lesson. So the first thing that I want us to do is I want us to look at the illustration. And I'm going to show the illustration here in a second. And I want you guys to ask yourselves, what kind of information did you have to infer or assume or imagine in order to be able to explain the situation in the picture? What did you have to infer or assume or imagine in order to be able to explain the situation in the picture? So let's go ahead and look at this illustration. So here's the illustration, and I can't really make my thing a little wider, but I will have this illustration inside of Schoology. What did you have to infer or imagine based off of what it looks like is happening or going on in this picture? So let's go ahead and continue on with our lesson. Our focusing question for this lesson is, how do stories help us make sense of ourselves and the world? And remember, we've been talking about this question for the last few lessons. Today we are in our know stage of our content framing question. How do informational texts build my knowledge of the power of stories? So the first thing that we're going to do, guys, is I am going to look at the focusing question task with you. And I want you to have all 3 of your informational text out so you can pull them up on different slides. I'm going to have those informational text inside of the Schoology link. The text that I'm talking about is Your Brain on Fiction, The Man Made of Words, all of this, the informational text that we've been reading over the last few lessons. So have those up. And also I would pull out your handout 27A. If you've completed your handout 27A of evidence collection, this is going to be inside of your drive because you should have already completed this. So you should be able to go ahead and pull this back up. So your Assessment 28 Focusing Question Task 4 says, over the past 4 lessons, you have read, annotated, and analyzed a variety of informational text about how stories help us understand ourselves and the world. You have read about the physical imagination, imaginative, cultural, and social aspects of stories. You have examined and experimented purposefully incorporating textual evidence into your writing. The purpose of this task is for you to express your understanding of the power of stories to help us understand ourselves and the world through examining 2 of the informational texts that you have read. So the task is you are writing for an audience that has read the text as you have. First, make a statement in which you define how stories help us understand ourselves and the world. Then write 2 to-seek paragraphs containing a topic sentence, evidence, elaboration, and a concluding statement in which you explain the power of stories, incorporating ideas and evidence from the 2 informational texts of your choice. Your paragraph should include a thesis statement expressing your overall understanding of how stories help us understand ourselves and the world. 2 to-seek paragraphs, each focused on a different informational text. An incorporation of evidence from both of the informational texts that you choose. And use of 3 different sentence stems when incorporating evidence. So this is a variety of sentences, so not all simple sentences. And you need to incorporate 3 vocabulary words. This here is for your planning to complete your to-seek. So you would write down the text that you're going to be talking about, and then the topic sentence, and then your evidence and your elaborations here. And then after you fill this out, then you can start to frame or form your essay. Once again, you will need an overall statement about the power of stories. And this overall statement will be the thesis. You should review the last row of handout 27A, which was in the previous lesson, to support your writing towards the thesis. And then examine ideas stated in your thesis of the 2 informational texts. So just so you guys are aware, to-seek stands for topic statement, evidence, elaboration, and concluding statement. After you guys have completed your focusing question task 4, I want you to answer the craft question, and we are in our Excel stage. How do I incorporate the strongest evidence in focusing question task 4? So using the completed assessment 28, you should write 2 to-seek paragraphs in response to the focusing question task. So to end the lesson, we are in our know stage of our content framing. And I want you to ask yourselves, how do informational texts build my knowledge of the power of stories? Your exit ticket is, what is the biggest takeaway from your Socratic seminar conversation that you've had? For homework, I want you to look at your reflection section of your knowledge journal. What's the most important or surprising thing you have learned about storytelling so far in this module? All right, guys. For our deep dive, we are going to be doing style and conventions, or basically better ways to write. I want you guys to complete part 1 and 2 of the handout 28A. So when I click this one, this handout is about identifying and revising sentence structure. So you're going to complete part 1 and part 2. And then ask yourselves, how can you improve the sentence variety and clarity in your writing from focusing question task 4? So I want you to spend the remainder of time that you have for today to look at your paragraphs and see where there are some moments or areas where you can revise your sentences to make sure that you're having sentence variety. And what I mean by that is compound, complex, and simple sentences. So where are some moments where you can change your writing to give your sentence structures more variety? All right, guys, that's going to be it for today's lesson. If you guys have any questions or concerns, please make sure that you come to office hours so that I can assist you. All right, guys, see you soon. Bye.